Hi everyone, welcome back to the Law of Attraction Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Laura, and if you haven't been here before, welcome to my channel. I'm a life coach. I talk about things like mental health, how to make yourself be your best self, self-care, self-love, relationships, the whole shebang. So if you love that sort of stuff, please give me a little subscribe down there by clicking the subscribe button. And if you enjoy this, give me a thumbs up so I know what kind of content you guys want me to make. So today I wanted to talk to you about relationship communication issues, and actually what can we do? How can we communicate with our partner better to ensure that that we're getting our best from them, from us, and from the relationship. So if you hadn't seen this week, I've been quoted a few times in Entertainment Daily about the Matt Hancock affair, and it's kind of made me think a little bit about kind of communication issues in relationships. Now, one of the things that I suggest to my clients about sort of relationship issues, but one of the other things is that this can work across the board for different relationships. So if you're a parent and you're having sort of communication problems with your child, you can use this. If you're a husband or a wife or whatever, housemates, whatever, this can be one of my top tips for all of you. So if you're having any form of communication issues in any type of relationship, have a little go at this and let me know, how did it work out? Did it help you? Did it not? So one of the things that I suggest for my clients is having like a communication hour with your partner, okay? Making sure that during the week you have time scheduled out that is specifically for you guys to look at relationship issues during the week, looking at things that have upset you, caused problems that you want to talk about. Now, something that I recommend people do is kind of get like, a tissue box or a jar or something like that, empty box, cereal box, something like that, to make a sort of comments box, okay? Now, I started doing this with my students over sort of, issues that they wanted to talk about in tutorial time, things to do with like mental health or sexual health or relationships, all sorts of stuff like that, that actually they could come in and do like an anonymous kind of comments box with me. Things would get put in there. Often they would all be wanting to talk about the same sorts of things, in all fairness, so it kind of always worked out fairly well. And we could talk in a kind of very open manner about whatever it is that they wanted to talk about. And it was sort of like a no place of judgment, that if anybody behaved in a way that was, not acceptable, judgmental, harsh, mean, laughing at somebody, whatever it was, then, and not taking this maturely, then they were going to get, told off a lot. So something about this kind of comments box situation is that it can actually, obviously it's not going to be anonymous if it's just you and your partner putting it in. It's kind of like, well, I didn't write this one, I assume I know who did. The anonymity has gone with this if it's just the two of you. But something that is helpful is that you say that anything that's put in the box will be listened to compassionately, empathetically, and calmly, okay? And what's really important is not only will it be listened to in that way, is also think about the way that you're writing things, okay? So sometimes what would be helpful is if you are having something that has happened, you put down in your little kind of, things to talk about box, and you wait until, whenever your time is that you do it. And the beauty of this is that often when you put in something in the box, you're really irritated about it. And then by the time you get around to the time that you're actually going to be discussing about it, those emotions will have normally calmed down. And sometimes it can bring kind of an air of awareness of kind of like, oh my God, I can't even believe I was irritated about that. And it can show that in that moment that actually maybe there's something else going on for you on a personal level, that you're not managing your self-care, your self-love, your stress levels, so that you're becoming irritated by the smaller stuff. So that's one thing that can come out of it. The other thing that can come out of it is that it is something that really peeved you, that you're still irritated and angry about it, and actually that now is a kind of a little bit of a less heated time to raise it. Sometimes when we raise issues as we see them going along, we can end up just getting in fights and arguments. You know, when you become angry, your IQ, your sense of awareness actually lowers. And so we become less competent in dealing with these big sort of sometimes nuanced and complex issues. We kind of get wrapped up in the heat and the anger of the moment. And we tend to go into kind of like the autonomic nervous system, where it's kind of like, you know, the sympathetic nervous system, cortisol, stress hormone, anger, and you can't deal with stuff like that. So what's really important to think about is in that moment when you're irritated by somebody, when you're irritated by your partner, something that they've done, is write it down as clearly as you possibly can, because one, you might not be irritated by it by the time you actually get around to talking about it, but two, writing it down in a very clear way and a very kind way as well, talking about facts. So we don't say, you did this, we don't know, you know, they didn't, we don't know if that's what they meant, you know, or you meant to do this and you were thinking this and you were thinking that. What you're doing there is you're projecting your own sort of fantasies onto your partner. Stick to the facts. What happened? What happened? How did it happen? How did you feel? How did it make you feel? Okay, so we don't say, you know, you did this because you wanted to hurt me, because this happened, because you're a bad person. We don't say that. What we say is that, you know, when you did this, it made me feel this and it made me feel that. For me, I would have handled this better if it had been like this, if this had happened, or so forth. Okay, so try and sort of do it in a as kind, as honest and as truthful a manner. Do not assign meaning to what your partner's done. Do not say that they meant to do something. Do not say, I know who you are and I know why you were doing it, because you don't know why they were doing it. You don't know those things, okay? It could have been a lapse of insight from their perspective. It could have been that they were angry, hurt. You don't know what's going on. So don't do that. Do not assign reasoning or ideas to your partner when you don't know really what was going on. Talk very, very factually about what's happening for you, why it's happening, how it made you feel. It's as easy as that. What would have looked better? What would you have preferred your partner to do? Now, when you have this time, so schedule in somewhere in your week that you are going to open up your little box of ways you've pissed me off this week, dear partner. And you're going to have a little look in it. You're going to have a look at them. You're going to open them up together. Do not do this when you guys are feeling irritated at each other, okay? Just make sure you got some time, try and have a nice evening, and then sort of sit down and broach these things when you're both feeling happy, both feeling relaxed. Have a little look at what was written. What had spurned the situation? How did your partner feel? What had you done to contribute to that situation? What do you think would have made the situation better? What would have been a better thing to have come in that situation rather than what had happened? And use this time to discuss, to come up with better ways, to consider maybe where your partner was feeling, what your feelings were, what you two would have felt would have been a better kind of approach, and then try and instigate some of those things in your life. So it could be that you use phrases or something that irritates the hell out of your partner. Maybe there's something that you do, a behavior that triggers them because they pattern match from an old ex. It could be that the way you say things, it could be that you're not managing your stress very well, which means that when this stuff crops up, you are blowing your stack. And often, you may find that things crop up that you didn't even know were a problem, which can, again, be really, really helpful. But it opens up that air of communication between you and your partner to ensure that you're always talking and communicating about how your partner's feeling, what would be better, what would they have preferred, what were they not happy about. I cannot say this enough, and I say it like every relationship video that I ever do, and every partner, every client I talk to about their partners. Communication is king, absolutely, or queen, whichever way you want to go. It is the most important thing. If you are coming to me as your life coach or your best friends, and you are talking to them more about what's going on in your relationship than what you're talking to your partner, therein lies your problem. okay? Your friends can't fix your relationship. Your life coach can't fix your relationship. Your doctor, your shrink, your psychotherapist, your therapist cannot fix your relationship for you. They can give you ideas, they can give you help, they can give you advice. But you and your partner need to fix your relationship. And you and your partner are not going to fix your relationship if your partner doesn't know there's a problem. Ooh, just like top tips. You know what I'm saying? So what you want to do is find as compassionate, as easy and as loving a way to find ways to communicate with your partner. And I think this kind of questions, comments box is a really, really good way of doing it. Scheduling that time to have deep, honest, open conversations with your partner and see where it goes. Start there. If that isn't working or it's still causing problems, then what you may be looking at is a communication issue for the point that the way that you two are talking isn't working. And at that point, it's a really good idea to bring in a mediator, somebody that can sit in between you and tease out the pieces of information, put them together, and also stop you two from blowing your stacks. So if you argue a lot, if you're fighting a lot, you guys need to calm the hell down and try this method where you speak to each other kindly at a time that you're both capable of doing that. So let me know how this goes. If you've got any top tips for communication, or if you've been through any problems with your relationship and you've moved through them, please leave some comments down below about what your top tips are for communication in sort of relationships. I can help people, you guys can help people, we can all help each other, and we can set up a really nice community here of people that sort of care about each other and want to see the world a better place. And that's what I'm trying to set up here, guys. So please give a little subscription, subscribe down below. It's free to do so. Click subscribe down below. You'll get updates as to when my new videos are out. If you click that little wiggly bell. And you can join the community of people helping other people and trying to make a better world here. Okay, so I love you all. Take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you guys in the comments.